Hi, readers. I got my Boston shirt on today. I don't know why. I just do. It's Monday. I don't have any clients today, so I don't have to dress up. And I'm going to film some content this morning before I have to do some training this afternoon. I am a little frustrated with myself and also recognizing that the last month was really chaotic and I shouldn't be fussing at myself internally. So I'm not. But what I did realize the other day when I was looking at some books is that I'm not certain that I will read a Book of the Month Club book this month if I don't get to The God of the Woods, which is what on my June TBR, and it's one of the ones that I would like to read. It's big. It's a lot, but it is on my TBR. But I felt like I also needed a backup in the event that I don't finish The God of the Woods, because it's not, I have to do that. I had to finish 11/22/63, which I'm happy to say that I have. And I'm going to be doing a wrap up, I think, specifically on that book because it's just that big and that wonderful. And then I'm also reading currently for my nonfiction pick that you chose, The Big Bang Theory. I'm about 50 pages in, so I'm feeling okay about that and I'm enjoying it. So next, what did I start thinking about? I started thinking about the options, and then I was like, what if I don't finish that? So I have chosen four small Book of the Month Club titles that are also all on my backlist. The God of the Woods is kind of a backlist read because it came out last year and I was interested in it from that start, but I didn't acquire it until this year. That's fine for me in terms of the backlist challenge, but these have been sitting on my shelves for a while. And because they're short and because I might be able to find one of them or more in Kindle, I wanted to give these a shot. So I'm going to read you the synopses of each one of these, and then I'm going to try a chapter or two if need be. And then I'm going to come back and say, this is the one that I'm choosing for me to read in June. So let's get started. The first one is an older one, What's Mine and Yours by Naima Coster. Naima Coster, I'm not even sure. I should have looked it up. March of 2021. So I've had this on my shelves, haven't read it, but have wanted to read it more than once, have picked it up, not gotten to it. So she also wrote Halsey Street, and she writes about race and how it impacts people's relationships and their lives and the things that happen. So this is about a community in Piedmont, North Carolina, and their schools are merging Black students and white students together in a East Side town, which has been predominantly Black, and a West Side town, which has been predominantly white. So they're moving them, merging them together, and two students, Guy, I think, or G, and Noel, are going to be involved in what happens next. So on one side, Guy or G's mother is really supporting him because he's going into a white school or with white students, and he's really just wanting to like knock it out of the park successful, and she really wants him to knock it out of the park successful, but he's also very sensitive and very anxious. And then Noelle is half Latina, but her mother will not acknowledge that, nor does she celebrate it, nor does she bring it forward. So she tries to kind of uh, stifle her identity, her true identity, and her true race. So that is really a challenge. But they meet each other in a school play, which is meant to connect all of these students together, Black and white, in this new environment. And the disconnected families, it says, form messy ties. I don't know what that means, but something happens, and it may or may not be something really difficult. I can't tell. The synopsis is very vague, but I will say that this seems like a really great read for me, and it seems like something I would enjoy. It's a character driven, pretty much, but there's definitely something that happens in this plot. And I think it's set in the 90s. It is. The first chapter is October 1992 in Piedmont, North Carolina. So I'm going to read that first chapter or two and see what I decide to do. Then this one I've had for a bit as well, The Devil Takes You Home by Gabino Iglesias. This one came with a little extra note about the translations and about some of the meaning of some of the work. But this one has been one that it's kind of a thriller. So a little deviation. I've tried to make all four of these a little bit different. This man, Mario's child, is very, very ill. And there's been lots of hospital bills and lots of treatments, and they're really struggling. And I think Mario loses his job because of that. Or maybe he just wants a new job because they're in so much debt over these bills. So he ends up taking a job as a hitman, which is going to either make him $200,000 or more, or it's going to cause his death. And so he partners with someone else, and they have to hijack a drug cartel's cash shipment before it reaches Mexico. It sounds really complicated and thrillery. It is also not very long. I didn't look at page numbers for that first one, but this one is 308 pages. So that's not bad. And this one is, let me go back and look. It's probably about the same, 340, a little bit longer. So none of these are going to be big book summers. And this one came out on August of 2022. So I've had it for a good number of years. I've not picked it up, but I was very interested in it when I got it from Book of the Month. And so I'm going to try a chapter and learn about Mario and his family as far as I feel like I need to go. Then I've almost read this one more than once. I picked it up not long ago, opened it up, cracked it open, did read a chapter, I think, or close to. Katie Williams, My Murder. I don't know why I've hesitated on this. This is also literary fiction, but it's kind of the reason it's different than the other one is because it is fantastical plot. So it's literary fiction, but it has some fantasy to it. So this was published in 2023. But she also wrote Tell the Machine Good Night, which was a finalist for the Kirkus Prize, and two young adult novels, and she's been published a number of times. Maybe I'm getting her mixed up with somebody else, but Katie Williams, My Murder. But this is about a woman whose name is Lou, and she's happily married. She has children, but she's a victim of a serial killer. But what then happens is she's brought back to life from this experimental, I guess, kind of work that they're doing. So that's the speculative kind of, I don't know what you'd call it. But anyway, she's brought back to life. She's returned to her family, but she's assigned to a government project. And she is trying to bond with other female survivors who have been in the same situation, I think, but she discovers that disturbing questions remain about what exactly preceded her death and how much she can trust those people around her. Now it's not enough to care for her child, love her husband, and do the work she's always enjoyed. She must also figure out the circumstances of her death. It says it's darkly comic, tautly paced, and full of surprises. It's a clever devour in one sitting twist on a classic thriller. So I'm going to try a chapter of that again because it's been a while. That one is highly possible. And then I have Dearest by Jackie Walters. Dearest came out in October of last year, so still a backlist book for me. This is horror. I had to add a little horror. A new mom in need of help opens the door to her long estranged mother only to find something darker inside. So Flora has just had her baby, Iris, and she's trying to cope with the new mom stages and the newborn space all by herself. She realizes she needs help, and her mother has not been a good influence in her life. She's not been someone that Flora can trust, but she discovers that someone has been talking to her mother through the baby monitor. I'm not sure if this is her sleep deprivation as a new mom, which it could be. So I'm sure that there's a lot of horror plots that begin with, I just had a baby and I'm not coping well, and this terrible thing happens. And I like that trope. I like it a lot. Stop. with your messing around. But anyway, so she's trying to figure out who's talking through this baby monitor. And the next thing she knows, her mother shows up. Iris is at her door to help her. And so then this question is, will they mend their relationship or will something really creepy happen? The fact that there's a little girl on the cover with that door open is a little creepy to me. So I'm going to try a chapter of this too and see how we do. She's an Emmy nominated screenwriter. She's sold 5 pilots in the last 3 years, and she graduated from Stanford, which is fun because I have some clients from Stanford, and this is her first novel, her debut, and she has 2 children and a golden retriever. So let me say, this is 297. So that's even smaller than the first two. And I didn't look at this one, which is 291. So this is the shortest one of all, followed by this one. And then I think this one and this one. I think I may be wrong. Okay, I'm going to be off and I'm going to read a chapter and then I'm going to come back and tell you what I've decided. Okay, I'm going to start on this one. Let's see. This is super dark first chapter. I don't know if I can take any more super dark. Okay, also dark. Mm-mm-mm. I read 2 chapters of this one because the first chapter was super short. This is first person narrator. Mario is telling us about the diagnosis in chapter 1 of his daughter's, I think it's leukemia. And then in chapter 2, you discover that they've not been able to make much progress on her treatment. It's become more aggressive and that they're going to need a lot of money to do a special um, experimental treatment. And he's lost his job because he's out of PTO and anything else benefit wise that they have. So they've fired him. So they have no insurance and bills already. And they have this miracle treatment that they think will work on this baby. She's not a baby, but she's young. Dark. Yeah, just dark. I don't guess any of these are going to be real light, are they? Now that I think about it. Okay, let's try My Murder by Katie Williams. All right. I have read this chapter before. I remember it, reading it, and I remember not thinking that I was not going to read it. Like I remember thinking I was going to get to it, and then something happened. Who knows? But squirrel. Lou is the name of the woman who's been murdered and reconstituted, if you will, into this being that is robotic in some way. And her husband Silas is getting ready in this first chapter for a party, and he wants her to go with him, obviously, but he's also concerned that perhaps she's not ready because she hasn't, I don't think, been out with a lot of people since this happened. Apparently, people know what's happened because when she says the babysitter's here, she says that the babysitter likes to take secret pictures of her to show her friends. So she must be, pretty widely known to be a robot. But there's not a whole lot of substance to this first chapter, but I think maybe the most important thing to realize is that her daughter, Nova, who is a baby, 9 months oldish, interesting, there's some young kids in all of this. Nova is scared of her, apparently, because every time she picks her up, she screams. So she can tell that that's not her real mother. That must have some impact on the rest of this story because it's pretty prevalently the only thing that you're learning about in this first chapter. So there's that. One more, dearest Jackie Walters, creep horror factor. All right, I'm done. This one had a very interesting start. It's a preview. This is also first person. That's interesting that three out of the four are. Had a preview of what had happened. And she goes back and tells you about her experience of giving birth and what that looked like, felt like. The first little bit is really dark. Like, I wish I could tell you, but I don't want to spoil it for you because it's not in the synopsis. But she's in a place where something has happened. Baby, stop. It's okay. It's okay. And she's freaking out. And then you go back to sort of the beginning of not the beginning of the pregnancy, but the beginning of the birth experience. So I got to tell you, I want to read all of these. That's the problem. I want to read all of them. I would say that this is the one that I could put away for a bit and get back to. So I'm going to eliminate that one. And this one, I'm also not ready for quite yet. It's a, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just sensitive to the sick child, young child situation. So I don't know that that's going to work. So these are like the ones that I think I would want to read first. And I'm going to go with this one because it's so creepy. And I haven't read Creep in a bit. And so I think it's time for a little bit of creepy horror. New mom. I know you would think that I wouldn't want to do this either, but yeah. So, Dearest by Jackie Walters is officially Thank you for your cheers. My June Book of the Month Club book, unless something happens. And I am going to look to see if, real quick, if I can find it on Libby or Hoopla or something. So let's see if I can get a copy of it in some way. Oh, I don't have a card yet. So I just signed up for the Department of Defense, but I have to figure out how to add my information into here to be able to borrow books from those libraries. Okay, let me see if it's on Everand. I don't love reading books on Everand unless they're audio, but I could maybe make an exception. All right, it's not an audiobook available to me because it's on the subscription plan. Oh, for heaven's sake. Okay. This is the one. I'll get back to you at the end of June, hopefully, and let you know how I feel about it. Thank you for watching. Hope this was exciting for you in some way or form or fashion. Let me know if you've read any of these books and if you have, what you thought about them or anything by these authors. This is an interesting kind of choice for me too, because these are not books I hear people talking about all the time. So maybe these are not well read, but I'm hoping that some of you have a little bit of feedback about them. So thanks again. Let me know what you're reading, what your Book of the Month Club choice is, if you'd like to share that as well. And as always, happy reading. Bye.